As I stepped out of the taxi in front of the New York Public Library, I felt I was being watched. I glanced around, trying to catch a glimpse of anyone who might be paying a little too much attention to me. But the crowds of people hurrying by on the sidewalk seemed absorbed in their own worlds. I shook off my unease and climbed the steps to the library's imposing entrance. I had more important things to worry about than phantom stalkers. I was here to meet with an anonymous source who claimed to have information about Dr. Emily Hathaway, the enigmatic linguist who had supposedly cracked the code of the Voynich Manuscript. As I made my way through the library's cavernous lobby and up the stairs to the rare books room, I couldn't stop thinking about the little I had managed to uncover about Dr. Hathaway so far. She was a brilliant but unconventional scholar, with a reputation for pushing the boundaries of linguistics and attracting controversy wherever she went. Her work on the Voynich Manuscript in particular seemed to have become an obsession for her. From what I could gather from the fragments of information I had pieced together, she had spent years poring over the manuscript's strange illustrations and enigmatic script, convinced that it held the key to unlocking a lost history of women's power and knowledge. The Voynich Manuscript's images of naked women, often depicted inside exaggerated or stylized reproductive organs, had apparently struck a chord with Dr. Hathaway's fierce feminist sensibilities. She seemed to believe that the manuscript was a codex created by and for women, a secret text that encoded ancient wisdom about the female body, sexuality, and spirituality. I was intrigued by this idea, even as my journalistic skepticism warned me to be cautious. The Voynich Manuscript's illustrations, while unpolished, were certainly striking. But as fascinating as these images were, they hardly seemed like conclusive proof of a lost matriarchal civilization, as Dr. Hathaway had apparently claimed in her blog post. I knew I needed to keep an open mind, but I also couldn't let myself get swept up in what could very well be an elaborate hoax or delusion. I pushed open the heavy wooden doors of the rare books room and stepped inside, feeling the hush of centuries-old knowledge settling around me. The room was dimly lit and smelled faintly of old paper and leather. I made my way past rows of glass cases filled with ancient manuscripts and delicate, crumbling books, my footsteps echoing softly on the polished floor. As I approached the back corner of the room, I noticed not one, but two women in their 60s sitting at a small table. The first, with deep brown skin and tight coils of black hair cropped close to her scalp, was engrossed in a book. Her high cheekbones and full lips were illuminated by the soft glow of the reading lamp, lending her face a regal quality. The second woman, with pale skin and long white blonde hair, sat a little further away, her hazel eyes darting between the first woman and me as I approached. The woman with the book looked up as I drew near, her deep brown eyes bright with intelligence as she fixed me with an appraising gaze.
Ms. Rose, I presume. Glad you could make it.
I slid into the chair across from her, my heart hammering in my chest. Thank you for reaching out, I said, trying to keep my voice steady. I'm very interested in what you have to say about the Voynich Manuscript. I glanced at the blonde, who was still watching us intently. I'm sorry, I didn't catch your name. And who's your friend over there? The woman leaned back in her chair, a faint smile playing at the corners of her mouth.
You can call me Regina, and that's Agnes. She's just keeping an eye out to make sure our conversation stays between us, if you catch my drift.
I nodded, my curiosity piqued by the mysterious circumstances. I understand. So, what can you tell me about Emily Hathaway? Regina's smile widened.
Emily? She's more than just a brilliant linguist, Ms. Rose. She's a visionary, a trailblazer who's been working tirelessly to uncover the hidden history of women. And the Voynich Manuscript? That's the key to unlocking everything she's been searching for.
I leaned forward, intrigued. Hidden history? What do you mean? What secrets does the manuscript hold? Regina glanced around the room as if to make sure we weren't being overheard.
The Voynich Manuscript isn't just some ancient text full of women's wisdom. It's a testament to a time when women held the power of knowledge. We were the healers, the scholars, the guardians of life's mysteries. But more than that, it's evidence of a society that transcended the limitations men sought to place upon us.
She reached into her bag and pulled out a sheaf of papers, spreading them out on the table in front of me. I saw that they were photocopies of pages from the Voynich Manuscript, the strange, swirling script, and the crudely drawn illustrations seeming to dance before my eyes.
Take a look at these images,
Regina said, pointing to a complex diagram of what looked like naked women interacting with enlarged plants and flowers shaped like reproductive organs.
This right here, it's a map of the female reproductive system, but it's encoded in the language of nature herself. But it's more than just a biological blueprint. It's a symbol of the power these women wielded to create life, to bring forth new generations without the need for men.
I stared at the images, trying to wrap my mind around the implications of what she was saying. Are you suggesting that this manuscript describes a society where women could reproduce without men? Regina nodded, a fierce light in her eyes.
That's precisely what I'm suggesting. We are convinced the text speaks of a civilization where women had unlocked the secrets of parthenogenesis, of virgin birth. They had discovered a way to combine their own genetic material to create new life without the need for male fertilization.
She leaned forward.
Can you imagine the power that would give women, the freedom, the autonomy? No longer would we be dependent on men for our very existence. We could shape our own destinies, create our own societies, free from the oppression and violence that have plagued women throughout history.
That's a bit extreme, isn't it? I felt a chill run down my spine, a mixture of awe, fear, and incredulity. The idea of a women-only civilization, one that had achieved such a radical level of self-sufficiency, was almost too incredible to believe. But if this is true, I said, my mind racing with questions, why has this knowledge been lost? Why has no one ever heard of this civilization before?
Because men, they have always feared the power of women,
Agnes said.
They tried to control us, to keep us in our place, no? And when they couldn't control us, they tried to erase us from history, to destroy every record of what we achieved, of what we knew.
Regina pointed at the papers, her hands trembling slightly.
That's why the Voynich Manuscript is so important. It's not just a historical curiosity, it's a key to unlocking a hidden truth about the potential of women. And there are those who would stop at nothing to keep that truth buried.
I leaned back in my chair, my mind reeling with the implications of what she had told me. If what she was saying was true, then the Voynich Manuscript represented more than just a centuries-old mystery. For if the manuscript held such explosive secrets, then the forces arrayed against its decipherment must be powerful indeed. I stared at the pages, trying to make sense of what I was seeing. The images were certainly striking, but I couldn't help but feel a sense of skepticism creeping in. How do you know all of this? I asked. How can you be sure that this is what the manuscript really means? A hint of triumph emerged in Regina's smile.
Because Emily Hathaway and her, family have deciphered it, and she will prove us right. I'm sure of it. She's cracked the code, and what she's found will change everything we thought we knew about women's history and power.
I felt a thrill of excitement running through me, even as my journalistic instincts warned me to be cautious. So what happens now? What does Dr. Hathaway plan to do with this knowledge? Regina's smile faded and a look of concern crossed her face.
That's where things get complicated. There are powerful people out there who don't want this knowledge to get out. People who will do whatever it takes to keep the Voynich Manuscript's secrets hidden.
She leaned closer.
Emily Hathaway is in danger, and if we don't act fast, the secrets of the manuscript may be lost forever.
She glanced at Agnes, who nodded almost imperceptibly.
We must leave now,
she said, both of them rushing toward the wooden doors. I felt a chill run down my spine, and suddenly the musty, shadowy room seemed filled with hidden menace. As I gathered up the photocopied pages and prepared to leave, my mind was racing with questions and possibilities. I knew I had to find Dr. Hathaway, to learn the truth about her work and the forces that were trying to stop her. But I also knew that I was heading into uncharted territory, a place where the lines between science and mysticism, between fact and fiction, were beginning to blur. I checked my phone for new messages and clicked on an email titled Unlocking the Truth.
Amalia. your investigation into the Voynich Manuscript has not gone unnoticed. If you wish to uncover the secrets it holds, follow the path illuminated by the manuscript's history. Seek the place where the sun sets behind the hills, where the vines grow heavy with fruit, and the ancient stones whisper tales of a forgotten past. There, you will both find the answers you seek. Come alone, and tell no one of your journey. 43.470336.
Attached to the email was a series of cryptic numbers that seemed to hint at some hidden meaning. I stared at the screen, my mind racing with questions. Both? What does it mean? I took a deep breath and stepped out of the rare books room, into the bright, bustling world of the New York Public Library. The hunt for the secrets of the Voynich Manuscript was on, and I knew I wouldn't rest until I had uncovered the truth, no matter where it led me. Little did I know just how deep and dark the rabbit hole would go, or how much it would change everything I thought I knew about the world and my place in it.